Footy highlights for Vic Super. Get super active with Vic Super.
Woody goals.
Brown, 2 goals thus far, and he does make it 3. Fantasia collects it cleverly, steadies on the left, and snaps a brilliant goal.
That's the intensity Worsfold would have been looking for all day, but it's only come in the last few minutes.
Goes to Stewart under pressure, has to kick around the body. Lucks a fortune, goal the Bombers. Heppel round the body, it's another one for the Bombers. Back of the pack weight, sidesteps his man, off the outside of the boot for a pancake parlour goal of the day.
They just keep coming. It's been a brave performance.
In comes Big Ben Brown for his 4th goal of the day, which he duly delivers.
Honest Ben Brown. It is honest Ben Brown. 4 goals today. North Melbourne trails only narrowly at 3/4 time. 3W football for KFC. 13-8-86 the Bombers. North Melbourne 12-7-79. Down to you first, please, Mick. A boundary line report for Elmore Oil, Australia made naturally good pain relief.
Yeah, nothing major here today injury-wise. Jobe Watson copped a late whack there, and he's starting on the bench. He's had the 4 kicks, 14 handballs. Through some injury news elsewhere, Nathan Freeman, who of course was a top 10 pick for Collingwood about 5 or 6 years ago. Now at St Kilda, he's had hamstring issues his whole career. He's been putting some good footy together. He's hurt his ankle pretty severely, we hear, today in the VFL playing for Sandringham. And also Brett Delidio playing in the NEAFL today. Going okay, 5 disposals early in that game.
Good stuff. 7-point lead for Canterbury. Timber at windowsanddoors.build. A stat each, please, boys, before the resumption.
10 scoring shots to 6 that quarter the Bombers' way. Just much more efficient going inside 50. I know it's been 11 lead changes, but I think that and enough will have Essendon just win this game.
And the free kicks have just about evened up, so the Essendon supporters are much happier with that particular stat.
For tyre power at 3AW is football. We start the last quarter. Merritt worked his way through. Handball to Gleeson. Kicked it in mid-air. Got the ball to Fantasia. Handball missed and picked up by Higgins. Wants to swing it wide to the wing. Williams. Handball over the top. Garner, North Melbourne. Been all right today. Safety first. Goes backwards. And Durden, who's also been good for North, has it. Just defensive side of the wing. Keeps it low going forward. Kick astray though. And it's a pretty straightforward mark to Hartley of Essendon. He's just back of the wing on the City side. 86-79, 7-point margin as Essendon start the last quarter in front. Kick was good to Goddard. Neat one, then back to Heppel. Long to centre half forward. Great weight. It is Danaher's
touch off the hands.
That's touch off the hands. No one's aware of it. It's been Danaher. Got to play on. Sidesteps his man. It goes on and long and wide and one behind.
And copped a spray from 2 players. Zaharakis and Merritt. A handball had to be given, but still wanted to take the shot.
Tyre Power scoreboard 13-21-91 for your nearest store. Tyrepower.com.au bring you the last quarter. Essendon 13-9-87, North Melbourne 12-7-79. Tiff, any nervous moments for the Melbourne Footy Club?
Well, Port Adelaide is coming back. They've kicked 2 goals to 1. They trail by 24, 9-8-62 to 5-8-38.
Kangaroos clear, but Hartley takes a good mark for Essendon. That was a very technical call by the umpire. Should have been a mark to Danaher. Long ball to full forward, and Hooker, aided by a little shove on Scotty Thompson, has taken a mark 20 out. But that's not the end of it, because he's got to try and find a way of manoeuvring the Sharon between the tall timbers.
Luke McDonald, he's there again. He's just giving it to him. You can see him just 10 metres away. He'd be talking all about those past 2 misses.
His set shot attempt late in the 3rd quarter was a shocker. He comes in and this time he gets it done. He came in like Usain Bolt and drove it through. And the Bombers lead by 14 points, 14-9-93. To North Melbourne 12-7-79 on the Tyre Power scoreboard.
I guess nothing works all the time, yeah, but he made sure he had good momentum with his kick. He wasn't going to go back and just try and steer it and lead back on it, which often players do from that set shot. He just come and kicked it firmly and aggressively and went straight.
And well done to Michael Hartley. He's had a tough day, had 4 goals kicked on him by Ben Brown. He's now been released onto the smaller Taylor Garner. 2 big marks to keep that ball inside forward 50.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone run in Lloydie as quickly as that. For Hooker, he has 2, and it's out to 14 points. And Nielsen and Hooker, that's a bad bounce and to be recalled. Tiff, while we get a secondary ball up to the MCG for Vodafone.
Yeah, Melbourne just breathed a sigh of relief. Jake Melksham has snapped his 2nd for this quarter and for the game. 10-8-68 to 5-8-38. They lead by 30 points.
Back in the middle of the ground, Bell Chambers, neat tap, went straight to Myers, to Merritt. Getting more influential. He's kicked wide to wing half forward. Stewart, hard lead for the Bombers, takes it. And now can set it up to full forward. Oh, Danaher has given away a free kick, surely. As Scotty Thompson.
He was going to take the mark of the century, but he went a long way too early, tumbled over. It was a big leap, but not much control in that one.
Very clever too from Scott Thompson. He just pulled up a fraction, gets the free kick.
And I'll tell you, had the boot been on the other foot, Scotty would have protested about the free kick, Tone.
So Essendon go long, and again this hooker just getting away from Nielsen late. And he is 30 metres out, this time on a slight angle. And perhaps the Usain routine might want to be, just because of the angle, just might want to be curtailed in this attempt. 14 points the margin. We're at the 4-minute mark, final quarter on the Ray White clock. And as noble and as honest as North Melbourne has been, a goal here makes it 20 points and mighty hard for them to come back. But Hooker's had a little bit of the kicking yips. From 25 out, slide angle, it's a wobbler but goes through. Hooker has his third. They start with a bit of a blaze. 2 goals in the first 4 minutes, the Bombers, 15-9-99. North Melbourne, 12-7-79. Tyre Power scoreboard, tyrepower.com.au. Tyre Power, who support the 3RW Twitter, at 3RW's Football. Whatever's on your mind, you want to send us a tweet, do so for Tyre Power. Here is Lee Matthews across Australia.
Well, he basically got an uncontested check mark from the kick that went 60 metres, but it just kept floating through the air, and there's a pack of about 4 players. It just drifted over the head. Hooker standing behind the pack, takes the uncontested chest mark, but then he's running quickly, kicked the ball firmly and aggressively, kicked it straight.
Bellchambers beats a door here. Bellchambers, I think, getting on top late in the piece. Essendon's ball once more. Goddard swings it into the 50. Durden came over the top of the spoil. Collected for North by Clark. A hand pass to Gibson, who stabs it down the corridor and finds Dumont, who places it wide. And McDonald still between half-back and centre for the Kangaroos, who desperately need the next goal. Short ball back to Gibson. Now over the top for Zurha. McKenna arrives. Zurha holds his ground, holds his nerve, takes the mark between wing and half-forward. Good strong body for a young player. Gives to Clark, back to Zurha. Swings his kick to the forward pocket. Big Ben! Strikes. Takes the mark. 20 out. 45-degree angle to once again fan the embers of North Melbourne's victory hopes. He has 4 for the day. It's been a good performance. Well within range here. The angle, of course, limits the amount of daylight.
One thing done, 17 contested marks North Melbourne to 8 to Essendon. So certainly in a lot of them been, Garner's been good up forward. Wade has, and so's Brown.
What Hooker's approach has in speed, Brown has in length. He comes in, gathering pace, and drives it through for number 5. And North are still chipping away. Essendon 15-9-99, North Melbourne 13-7-85 on the Tyre Power scoreboard.
I've got it as a 31-step run-up. That is, I don't know that anyone in the history of the game has had a longer run-up.
The longer it is, the more trouble you get yourself into. So it's not something you teach, but he's worked out a way that's suits him and helps him. 46 goals he's kicked now for the year, Ben Brown, and doesn't miss too many. One of the more reliable kicks in the game. 46 goals, 20 now.
His run-up's certainly about 30 metres, isn't it? It's a long run-up.
Alan Davidson wrote a book at the end of his career as a great Australian cricketer. Fast bowler, of course, 15 paces.
That's it.
15 paces it was called.
Well, more fair play to North Melbourne there, hanging on. They trail by 14 points. Tyre Power scoreboard. Play restarts middle of the ground. Dumont to Swallow. Well read though by Watson. Knocks it towards centre half forward. Collier comes through. Unable to take it. Oh, Dumont had it, lost it. Ball at half forward for Essendon. Mullet tries to push it into the Swallow direction. He's tackled and over the footy, and we get a stoppage. So Essendon moved it forward to the northern or former Melbourne Remand Centre end of the ground. And it is still in the centre square, but certainly closer to their goals. 14 points the margin, 8 minutes final quarter. Essendon have it at the moment. Bellchambers, the tap. Coming through that time is Williams. He can't free his arms up. Tiff Cherry, any nervous moments up there for Melbourne supporters for Vodafone?
Not really. Look, it's 2 goals apiece this third quarter. Melbourne lead by 29 points.
So the tap sends it Essendon's way. Goddard picked it up, high left-footed, a full forward. Well done, Nielsen went body to body with Hooker, and Nielsen followed up for North Melbourne. He's tackled, somehow released the football. Goes back to Watson. Underground handball to Zaharakis. It's now out of bounds. But at half forward, right end for the Bomber. Yeah, Tiff, is there some issue with Chad Wingard?
Yes, he's just come off. It looked like he's limping on his right side, so I'll get back to you in a moment.
Thank you. 14 point is Essendon's margin. It's at half forward. Parrish has met the pack at pace.
It stops the advantage, doesn't it?
Yeah, but on a throw-in you can't play the advantage. No, so it goes back to Bell Chambers, who is 60 metres out. Tim, and he goes long to full forward.
It'll land 20 out. Hooker! Did he do enough? Yes, he did. Umpire Pinnell's paid the mark. And Usain Hooker is going to be lining them up again from close in. And should kick his 4th goal of the day. He's running hot. It'll be 3 inside 10 minutes in this last quarter.
Too big a job for the kid back there, Nielsen.
They lose concentration too, don't they? It's not only getting a little fatigued as the game goes on, the concentration powers can wane as well.
Now 8 marks for Hooker. This will be disposal 17. Goal number 4 if he kicks it, so building a pretty big day.
And a few goal-kicking contributors. Fantasia 4. McDonald, Tippin, Woody 3, and now Hooker has 4. And the Bombers looked as though they have this. 16-9, 105 to North, 13-7, 85 on the Tyre Power scoreboard. 9.5 minutes into the last quarter. Ben Brown for the Kangas has 5, and Jared Waite has 3.
Troy Pinnell speaking to Hooker, gave the young kid a pat on the head after that. I reckon he's saying no need for that. Just all it does is spark a melee afterwards.
Fair point, but none of the umpire's business, is it really? Or do you think?
No, well, I mean, I think you're trying to manage the game and just saying, listen, just don't do that. I mean, I guess it's not a free kick against, but it's certainly a kind of inflammatory action, isn't it? And Nielsen had to just take it because there's not much he can do.
Reminds me of Benny Hill and Little Jackie when he did that bald head. Out of the middle, Essendon all over him now. Parrish wide to half forward. Myers the pick up, tackled by Mullet, has to release the ball. It's still at half back North Melbourne. I thought there's an in the back going the Kangaroos' way, and there is. And it's going to be taken there by Dumont, who has been pretty tidy for them today. 105 to 85, 20 points is Essendon the lead. Tyre Power scoreboard with the 10-minute mark final quarter. As North Melbourne, still disciplined to the last moment, went wide to Gibson. Back 30 metres, closer to full-back Nielsen. Pushed as he kicked it, don't like the kick. Big turnover, and Zaharakis has it 60 metres out for the Bombers.
He places his kick into the forward pocket for Stewart, who takes the mark. He hasn't done a huge amount, but he's a significant cog in the Essendon front half, James Stewart. And he promises a lot for their future, you would think. And a goal here would just about put this away. They lead by 20. Then again, they led Brisbane by 27, didn't they? Hooker curls it. Not enough. Went across the face. Minor score, margin 21. Essendon 16-10, 106 North, 13-7, 85. That's for Tyre Power on 3AW Saturday afternoon football.
So does all caution thrown to the wing from Scott Thompson? No, going to kick to himself and go long to halfback. Dockside or broadcast side of the ground. Hurley got a hand in there. Went to McGrath. Hot handball, missed its target going through. Mountford tackle, ball released and goes out of bounds. So just seemingly now, Lloydie, that Essendon taking a long time to break this inexperienced North Melbourne team down, but it looks like that's the case, leading by 21.
So 8 inside 50s to 1 in the first 11 minutes of this last quarter.
Yeah, that says it. Dorr gets the tap. Merritt, front of the pack, gave to Zaharakis. High kick inside, attacking 50. The Bombers into attack. North Melbourne's defence punch it away, but only as far as Parrish. A high kick. Bell Chambers there. Nearly completed a brilliant one-handed mark. Unable to do so. There's a stack of Essendon there. Fall of the ball. Picked up Taylor Garner. The handball was okay to Gibson. Wants to switch play from the city to the dockside, and the kick's good, but a long way up the ground. Waite has it for North Melbourne. He's trying to finesse a pass, and it's good. Oh, Majak had it and lost it. And the ball goes out of bounds. 16-10, 106, Essendon Tyre Power scoreboard. North Melbourne 13-7, 85. Tiff, Melbourne still comfortably up there for Vodafone?
Yeah, they are. They lead by 23. Boak just kicked a goal. That's their 6. So 6-9, 45. They trail 10-8, 68. Chad Wingard looks like it's game over for him with a left ankle injury.
Bombers work it back to the 50s. Zaharakis has it. He swings it long. It hit the post. Another behind. 16-11, 107 to 13-7, 85. Well, that news on Wingard's not good for the little bloke who was sitting next to me on the plane. The Port Adelaide jumper, number 20 on his back. His dad had brought him over for the big day. He was only about 6 years old.
Oh.
He had a big bag of jelly snakes, and he was eating all the red ones, and he was pretty lively.
Hopefully they can keep his spirits up. North Melbourne to half-back to Gibson. Gibson gets the ball. Zerha long to half-forward. It's Hurley defensively. Lovely mark. And the big boys getting bigger and bigger as the experience of Essendon really kicking in. His curling kick went to Danaher, who kicks it out under the full. No pressure at all. Michael, I imagine you'll be heading off to the Essendon rooms shortly. For Elmore Oil, your last injury report, please.
Great crowd today, 40,359, Tone.
So North Melbourne short to Dumont. To full forward, the ball goes. Back, here's a chance for Waite. Ran himself into trouble. Got himself out of trouble. Sidestepped another player. Waite kicks a goal. His fourth pancake parlour goal of the day.
Lovely.
And composure under pressure. Well done, Jared Waite. As North Melbourne 14-7-91 get the margin back to 16 points. Essendon 16-11, 107. Lee Matthews.
Well, he looked like he was going to get tackled about 3 times, but he got through them all. But he's been good today, Waite, and he's kicked 3, Brown's kicked 4, so that's enabled him to kick the 14 goals. Always going to be a competitive score at the moment. Of course, Essendon got their 16 in front, but North have got the most out of what they've got to be have been able to field today, I would have thought.
Amazing, the little bags of goals kicked today. There's a 5, there are 3 4s, and there's a 3 from the ball up. Well done, Myers, went crashing through the wrong direction, but that didn't matter. He won the ball, gave it off. Fantasia drives the Bombers forward. Scotty Thompson's got it. They've got him.
Just on that, Tim, clearances in this last quarter, 7-0, 8-0 now in favour of Essendon. That's where the game's turned, 11-3 inside 50s, all as a result of the clearance dominance.
Majak Dor doing virtually all of it for North Melbourne through the day, but he has tired. Larkey on ball now, trying to get a stat or 2 late in the piece. Essendon deep in attack, and there'll be a second ball up here as from the first. It didn't come clear. Umpire Fisher with the footy. Larkey and Hooker. It falls Essendon's way, out in the pocket. Laverty, hand pass to Stewart, ran into Laverty, and that enabled Mullett to get hold of him and swing him over the boundary line. There'll be a throw in about 30 around, right forward pocket. Bombers in attack, leading by only 16 points. It's not quite done with yet. 16 minutes gone in the last quarter.
Yeah, importantly, 10.5 minutes to play. Ray White countdown clock. As on hands and knees, half back, Clark to Atley. Oh, the handball, the North Melbourne Swallow didn't get the boundary line. Essendon go back forward again. In front, Hooker, who's been pushed in the back after he completed the mark. And young Nielsen's frustration coming to the surface, gave away a free kick, and this will be number 5 to Cale Hooker in a matter of moments, and again that margin out to 22 points. And this time no need for the Usain Bolt runner. He has 4 goals in the final quarter, does Cale Hooker. 17-11, 113 the Bombers. North Melbourne 14-7-91 time power scoreboard. Around the grounds, Tiff Cherry at the MCG.
3-quarter time, and Melbourne lead by 28 points, 11-8, 74, 6-10, 46. Chad Wingard with a left ankle injury, but he's trying to push his argument to play this last quarter.
Yeah, well, a low-scoring game up there. It would appear that Melbourne in the bag. And here, Lordy, again out to 22 points Essendon's way.
Oh, what a last quarter. He missed 2 on the really on the siren of 3-quarter time, and so he could have had 6 today, Cale Hooker, but good that he hasn't gone into his shell. He spoke with his forward coach, Hayden Skipworth, about his kicking at 3-quarter time.
Second time he's kicked 5 in a game. Did it earlier in the year against Port Adelaide. Danaher's on ball now. Hasn't had a good day. Does well here, though. Releases Merritt, who threads a little hand pass to Fantasia. Weaves his way forward. Gives to Parrish. Time to straighten. And drive it home. And make the Bombers safe. Approaching the 18-minute mark. They lead by 28 points. 18-11, 119 to 14-7, 91 on the Tyre Power scoreboard.
They've done the centre bounce clearance, Lord. He's just mentioned before they've dominated this last quarter in that part of the game. The ball goes forward and they've started to get some real run in their legs now. I mean, for most of the game, that's like in the Kangaroos have just had a little bit more zip about them, but Essendon, now that they've established the match-winning break, all of a sudden you can see the confidence, the pressure's released a little, and now they're really starting to move.
10 clearances to none in this last quarter. 13 inside 50 to 3, 5 goals, 3 to 2 goals.
That weight of numbers finally have gone Essendon's way. Cunnington, middle of the ground, handball to Clark. Umpire said illegal handball, and the free kick. Everything now going with the Bombers is Heppel, right in the middle of the ground. Goes beyond centre half forward. Hooker being almost shepherded out, I would have thought. And Mountford able to take the mark for North Melbourne. Goes wide. Lord Declan Mountford, that is correct. Goes to Swallow. Halfback on the City side. Handball to Clark. He needs a runner, Clark. Good tackle, Myers. Free kick, Essendon. And Myers takes it. Half forward right, City side, northern end.
They're all saying go for the goal because one of the longest kicks in the game, David Myers.
So here we go. He's got to kick at every bit of 62, 63. But I suppose if you're 28 points in front, ball goes on its way as Collier takes an extravagant leap in the goal square, and it fell into the arms of Scott Thompson. And Scotty Tim straight up the middle of the ground. Ben Brown unable to get to the contest. Essendon have got the numbers full of the ball.
Down below us, Hooker coming off cramping, it seems, coming off very stiff-legged. North Melbourne's ball on half-back. Garner has it, touched it down to buy a bit of time, goes very wide. Didn't go out on the full, but it bobbled off the hand of Simpkin, and then he completed the mark on the wrong side, so it'll be a throw-in between wing and half-forward for Essendon, who are finishing all over North Melbourne.
Hey, with Doc, and he's not here today, Doc Larkins, if you're cramping, is that the hemorrhoid ointment or the pickle juice? It's one of the two.
As Essendon take it the long way. They go via the Cape, as Bert Bryant would have said back in the day on the racing broadcast. Gleeson swings it across half-back, where it is marked by Hartley. He kicks a little untidily, but Bagley picks it up low down to Zaharakis, back to Bagley, now to Hartley, who kicks forward in the Fantasia direction, couldn't mark. Thompson swipes it clear for North, but missed his target. Myers picks up, gives to Stewart, to McDonald, Tippengoody, an over-the-head job to Fantasia, who just couldn't collect it cleanly. And the Kangaroos come away with the footy. Simpkin takes a mark high at half-back.
Yep, 28 points is Essendon's lead. Tyre Power scoreboard, 7.5 minutes to run. Tiff Terry tells us it is Melbourne by 28 points at three-quarter time. North Melbourne to the wing. Higgins to Atley. Long kick forward pocket. Ben Brown yet again's taken a mark. And I imagine, Lloydie, if you have a game like this on such a fine player as Michael Hurley, he's lining up for number 6. He has to be in the big super votes.
Oh, he has to be. I think in a bottom two side, you know, he's straightened them up every time they've gone inside 50. He's been there to kick to, and he's obviously got 4 on Michael Hartley, and this will be second on Hurley if he can kick this one.
So 28 points is Essendon's lead. Can Ben Brown keep the flickers going for North Melbourne? He is outside the field of play. It is hard half forward right at the southern end to follow the boundary line along. He runs in. He's given it a ride. It is just across the face and one behind. 14-8-92 North Melbourne trailing the Bombers 18-11-119. Well, on the Tyre Power scoreboard, call 13-21-91 for your nearest store.
It's been a good day at the footy as it's turned out. It looked a pretty predictable match, but North Melbourne have been brave, and they've kept us wondering until halfway through the last quarter. The Bombers stacking too many guns in the end. Lead by 27 points. They work the ball around. Short, Gleeson, good contributor again. Chips to McGrath, just beyond the defensive 50 now for the Bombers, who have the Bulldogs next week. That's a huge game. Kick to the wing, no one can mark. Falling ball with Myers. Over the top to McDonald. Tippengoody well tackled. Let the footy go. North free kick. Advantages. Gibson runs onto it. Kicks to Garner, one of their better players. Atley streams by. Takes the hand pass. Goes for honest Ben. Hurley with him though. Stride for stride. Brought it down. McGrath mopped up. Gave it back to Hurley. The Bomber fans loved it, and then emitted a groan as Hurley kicked the ball out of bounds on the full, as though the cheering had gone to his head. North Melbourne's ball between wing and half forward.
Yeah, Cunnington short to Atley. Round the body he goes to full forward yet again. Wait. Good body work. Umpire said no free kick. Essendon to clean up as Merritt received from Collier. He wants to go up to the middle of the ground. A centre half back. Well, bounced off the chest that time of Bell Chambers. Higgins has got it. Good tackle, Bagley. I reckon that's the wrong disposal. So Bagley rewarded for a great effort. And he gets a free at half back.
Just on Zach Merritt, Tone, 33 disposals. The next best is Dumont, 27 for North Melbourne.
Yeah, and it seems like he eases his way through the game. Up the middle of the ground, Laverty's got it for Essendon. In-ball, handball, not particularly good. And North Melbourne get the turnover. They've got it middle of the ground.
Yeah, should never have achieved it, but they did. Swallow kicks to Brown, who takes a fine mark. About 30 metres out directly in front. Hurley cursing himself for not being able to prize that out of his grasp in a one-on-one. But honest Ben has been on his game and should kick his sixth.
Tone, you asked about Vic Supers. This could be for 5 Vic Supers.
Yep, he's been wonderful in what's going to be a losing effort.
He starts in. Has 46 for the year now. This to share the lead in the Coleman. He does with his 6th goal of the game. He draws alongside Buddy Franklin, who has a game in hand. Well done, Ben Brown. Essendon, though, 18-11, 119, lead the Kangaroos 15-8, 98 on the Tyre Power scoreboard. 24 and a half minutes gone in the last.
Not going to take many goals to win the Coleman this year, Lloydie, by the look. If you get 70 goals, you might just about win it. But actually, it was interesting then. He actually just sort of almost blocked Hurley out to allow Zerha to come and really take the mark in front of him. But the ball just kept coming. And again, every time he's been able to reach up full height, which he has most of the day, he's been really strong overhead.
18-11, 119 Essendon. North Melbourne 15-8, 98. Essendon win it from the restart. Watson to Zaharakis, the kick around the body to wing half forward. Goddard gets there first in front of Clark, who's done a lot of chasing today. The handball to Zaharakis to Heppel now. Clear air to set it up. Decides to go very, very long. There's a lot of holding. There's going to be an Essendon free kick that time to Stewart. Umpire says no. 25 out, Essendon deep into attack. And we get the stop. So 21 points, 4 minutes 11 on the Ray White. They've got the know-how, Australia's #1 real estate agents. 4 minutes to go. And Essendon to move to 9 wins. As Danaher took it from the ruck. The quick handball misses everything. Lee, ball out of bounds with the Bombers deep into attack. Lee.
Yeah, no, I was just, you're asking me the question.
I was more into it. I was more demonstrative.
Just what I was thinking. I was just thinking about Majak Dor. He's rucked pretty well, but he's got to find the ball much.
Parrish to Zaharakis, a snap at goal. And that's a late contender for pancake parlour goal of the day.
Lovely.
The Bombers get their 19th. And, well, Lee, it's often said these days that we want more goals kicked, and we've had 34 of them today. This is a bit old-time stuff. 19-11, 125 Essendon, 15-8, 98 the Kangaroos.
Yeah, it has been. Both sides have been well, both forward lines have actually been pretty good. So whoever was actually getting the ball in there the most, I mean, Essendon have dominated it as the game's gone on, but certainly early in the game, North were getting a lot of forward looks. As we've said many times, Brown's been good, Waite's been good, Garner's been good. And up the other end, eventually, Essendon have just been able to, mainly for a few mistakes early, been able to just keep close until they really accelerated late.
27 points is the margin in favour of the Bombers. Watson takes it, handball Zaharakis, threw the ball out to Parrish. Takes the ball, kicks around his body to the forward pocket, northern end. Stack of holding taking place, and Stewart to get a free kick.
He got one this time.
Just the
Durden.
Weight of numbers, Tone.
Yep.
Just they've been under siege. A young North Melbourne defence, and I'll just get those inside 50s for you.
Last quarter, please, if you can.
It's on the. It's 18-7. Clearance is 15-0. 15-0 in this last quarter.
But not a reflection of the effort from North Melbourne, but Essendon to win. 27 points. Stewart has 2. We've still got 3.5 minutes to go as Stewart, measured run in, then gets a little bit stuttery, then kicks the ball and he's missed. 19-12, 126 Essendon. The Tyre Power scoreboard, North Melbourne 15-8, 98. Tiff, let's go up to you. Are we underway in the final quarter?
We are, and here come Port Adelaide. Charlie Dixon has just kicked their 8th. They trail by 16 points, 11-8-74 to 8-10-58.
Ball back in play, beautifully marked by Heppel, backing back, kicking into the 50. It was a hospital ball for Merritt, who felt the pain. Kangaroos come away with it. Rovat's hand pass poor though, lets the Bombers back in. Watson got it towards Parrish. He lost control. And North Melbourne work it around to Garner at the 50. Hand pass to Simkin. A hand pass to McDonald, gliding past, driving long. Waite fell over at the psychological moment. Hartley leads him back. Hurley there too, mops it up. A hand pass to Zaharakis, who gives to Hurley and then lays a Shepherd. And the ball is kicked to Goddard, who marks on the wing. He brings it back to centre-half back where Gleeson takes a mark. He took a thrilling mark in the previous quarter with enormous courage, lightly built but very brave. It was Ian Stewart-like for the old-timers, backing back into a pack. He kicks now to Zaharakis, who marks the ball just behind the centre.
Yeah, been excellent again today, David Zaharakis. As Essendon just happy to knock it round now and basically do what North Melbourne was able to successfully for about 2.5 quarters. All denial of the football now. 28 points is Essendon's lead as Goddard to half forward. Front of the pack, Stewart knocks it in the path of Danaher, picks it up, throws it onto the boot quickly. Carries Fantasia for a goal. He was trying to take the mark at the last moment, just got the hands out of the way, and Danaher, he goes to 47, has his second of the afternoon. Essendon 20-12-132, North Melbourne 15-8-98. That is all for tyre power. You check out your nearest store, 13-21-91. Lee Matthews on 3AW football.
He hasn't had a great day. He's been okay, but nothing special in there. Hook has been the one in there, but kicks the goal, runs off the ground, just have a rest for the last minute 38 before the siren. No, Essendon, it's a good sort of solid win. They didn't have that stimulation at the start of the game that you sometimes get, but they've been able to plug away, and eventually overwhelm North Melbourne.
Three-way tie in the race for the Coleman, but Buddy will have the last say in round 18 when the Swans play St Kilda tonight. You're going to hear it here on 3AW. So you can stay abreast of that little sideshow contest. Majak Dor brought it down, but Watson stole it for Essendon at the ball up. Kicked it straight to Scotty Thompson at centre half back. He bangs it back through the middle of the ground. Well played Atley as he edged his man under the ball and then beat him on the way back. He collects, he drives long and he just misses. It would have been a terrific goal. Minor score, Bombers lead is 33. 20-12-132 to 15-9-99. We might have both teams kicking triple figures.
Yep.
Wonder how many times that's happened this year, Tone.
I wouldn't think too many, but we'll find out. As the
Damo
Hurley
Cardio's
kick,
on the job.
yep. Hurley's kick back pocket, picked off by Waite. He's taken the mark about 55 metres out at the southern end. So Waite probably forced to go with it now, even though the game is well won. He's tried a kick that has never been seen in football, and it's been taken. It was sort of a flat torpedo. It was not quite Peter Hudson's, Lee, but it didn't come off the boot. Yeah. But Swallow's taken the mark.
It was an ugly, floating, flat punt.
Yep. And Swallow has taken it.
Miskick torpedo, in fact.
So North Melbourne kick their 16th goal as Swallow gets his first. They go to 16-9-105, trailing Essendon 20-12-132. Tiff Cherry, Melbourne resisting at the moment, or Port Adelaide still coming?
Port Adelaide's coming, but Melbourne is charging into their forward 50 right now. It's just been intercepted, but they lead by 17, 11-8-74 to 8-10-58.
And well done to Damien Tardio. You asked a question 6 times this year, and we're up to 17. Yeah,
155th game, Tone.
Yeah, hasn't been achieved too often. Tim, 16 seconds to go. Essendon about to go to 9 wins and 8 losses.
It's roughly 4% of games. So a bit of a rarity these days. From the ball up, Cunnington's got it for North. Cleverly works his way out of the traffic. Gives to Dumont, who can't get out of the traffic. So he goes back to Cunnington, who swings it wide with the left foot, not to North's advantage. Zaharakis has time and space. Siren sounds. Bombers win And as we speak, they are in the 8. They've won by 27 points.
Bombers fly up, up to win the premiership flag. Our boys who play this grand old game are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up, up. The other teams they don't fear. They all try their best, but they can't get near as the Bombers fly up.
Kangaroos challenged the Bombers all day. They led them by 2 points at half-time. They were still within 7 at the last change. But Essendon's 7-goal final quarter was just too much for them. Essendon 20-12-132. North 16-9-105. 5 goals to Hooker, 4 to Fantasia, 3 to McDonald, Tip and Woody for the winners, 6 to Ben Brown for North, and 4 to Jared Waite. But the Bombers, for now, in the top 8.
Bombers fly up, up to win the premiership flag. Our boys who play this grand old game are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up, up. The other teams they don't fear. They all try their best, but they can't get near as the Bombers fly up.
20-12-132 Essendon. North Melbourne 16-9-105. 27-point win to the Bombers.